In a far corner of the galaxy, where stars flickered faintly and strange nebulae painted the darkness with soft colors, a fragile peace had lasted for years. Several alien factions, each powerful in their own right, had come to a shaky agreement. To avoid open war, their fleets hovering cautiously near contested systems, and watching each other like predators waiting for a mistake. But that uneasy calm shattered suddenly when the silence was broken by an enormous silhouette appearing on the edge of the battlefield. The massive shape belonged to a human warship, unlike anything the aliens had ever encountered. Named the Dauntless, the ship was vast, with sleek lines and a hull that seemed to shimmer with an energy that none of the alien scientists could identify. Its surface did not reflect light like metal. Instead, it pulsed gently with a strange glow that gave the impression the ship was alive in some way, breathing in the cold vacuum of space. The fleets nearby stopped their maneuvers, their weapons half-charged, and the commanders stared in disbelief. What was this vessel? How had humans built such a machine? The human warship moved with quiet grace, but its presence was loud and powerful, an unspoken message that things were about to change. As the Dauntless drew closer, sensors aboard the alien ship scrambled to understand its technology. All they found was mystery. Its shields flickered with colors unseen before, and its weapon systems were unlike any energy or projectile weapons the alien races had used in centuries of conflict. Speculation spread like wildfire through the ranks. Some believed this was a new weapon designed to dominate and conquer, while others whispered that humanity had unlocked secrets lost to time, powers that could reshape the galaxy's balance forever. The warlords, generals, and admirals exchanged urgent messages, their faces tense with concern. In their long history of war and diplomacy, none had ever seen such a sudden shift in power. Rumors began to circulate: had humans finally entered the galactic stage as masters of war? Or were they an unknown force with a different purpose altogether? Meanwhile, inside the command deck of the Dauntless, the human captain observed the alien fleets with calm focus. There was no boast, no call for glory. Instead, there was a steady determination to protect those who could not defend themselves, to stop the endless cycle of violence that had gripped this part of the galaxy for too long. The humans' arrival was not just about power. It was a message that they would not stand aside while others suffered. The aliens, unable to fully grasp this new player's intent, prepared their ships for the inevitable. Tension built like a tightly coiled spring, and the space between fleets grew thick with anticipation. The future of the galaxy suddenly seemed uncertain, the old rules of war breaking down under the weight of this new, silent threat. As the alien commanders waited for the next move, all eyes were fixed on the Dauntless, the warship that had arrived without warning and promised to change everything forever. The moment the first shots were fired, the galaxy's old way of fighting changed forever. The Dauntless did not rush blindly into battle like the others. Instead, it moved with calculated calm, its huge form cutting through the void like a silent storm. As enemy ships opened fire, their beams and missiles aimed too. Overwhelmed, the human warship's shields shimmered to life, absorbing every attack with ease. These shields were unlike any known defense systems. They bent and adapted, learning from each strike, growing stronger the more they were tested. The alien commanders watched in stunned silence as wave after wave of their most powerful weapons seemed to dissolve harmlessly against the ship's defenses. Then came the counterattacks, swift, precise, and terrifying. From the belly of the Dauntless, small drones emerged like a swarm of deadly insects. They moved with surgical efficiency, targeting weak points on enemy vessels with deadly accuracy, disabling engines and cutting communications before the larger ships could even respond. These drones were guided by advanced algorithms, but it was clear that human ingenuity had crafted them not just for destruction, but for control and chaos on the battlefield. The aliens scrambled to adjust their tactics, but every move was met with new surprises. The human captain, a figure calm and composed amid the storm, led with a sharp mind honed through countless trials on a planet scarred by wars long past. Unlike the alien fleets, which often relied on overwhelming force or massive numbers, humans fought with creativity and flexibility. Their battle strategies were unpredictable, adapting quickly to changes and exploiting weaknesses no one had thought to use before. The captain's voice, steady and clear, guided the crew as they executed maneuvers that baffled even the most experienced alien tacticians. The humans did not seek to destroy everything with brute force. Instead, they aimed to disable and disrupt, forcing enemies into chaos and confusion, then striking with precision to end the fight swiftly. The alien warlords realized this was a new kind of warfare, one based on resilience, patience, and an unshakable will to survive. As the battle raged on, the sheer efficiency of the Dauntless and its crew began to tip the scales. Once confident in their strength, found themselves outmatched and outmaneuvered. It became clear that human technology and tactics were not just powerful, they were revolutionary. Some alien commanders began to wonder if humans had spent centuries perfecting this art of war on a planet where survival depended on quick thinking and adaptation to constant danger. The stories of Earth's harsh history suddenly made sense, explaining why humans fought so differently from the rest of the galaxy. But even as the aliens tried to regroup, the humans maintained their calm, their discipline unbroken. They understood that victory was not just about weapons or shields, but about the strength of mind and spirit. The Dauntless moved through the battlefield like a ghost, untouchable yet unstoppable, rewriting the rules of engagement with every action. The first battle ended with the alien fleets in disarray, and a new respect for the humans would come seemingly from nowhere to change the war forever. As silence fell over the shattered battlefield, the alien commanders knew one thing for certain. The arrival of the Dauntless had opened a new chapter in galactic warfare, one that would test every race's ability to adapt and survive in ways they had never imagined. The arrival of the Dauntless did more than just change the course of battle. It sent powerful shockwaves rippling through the entire political web of the galaxy, shaking even the oldest and most established factions to their core. Alien leaders, once secure in their own strength and influence, suddenly found themselves questioning everything they thought they knew about power. Some factions, seeing the humans as a beacon of unmatched strength and advanced technology, rushed to send emissaries to the Dauntless with hopes of forming alliances. These groups dreamed of sharing in humanity's marvels, believing that their own positions in the galaxy could be secured or even improved by aligning with this new and unpredictable force. They spoke in urgent tones of partnership and mutual benefit, eager to understand the humans' secrets and to invite them into their ranks. But not all shared such hopeful visions. Other factions, those with the most to lose, viewed the human arrival as a threat unlike any before, a danger that could append centuries of dominance and control. These wary powers quietly began plotting, weaving intricate plans to counter human influence and to undermine their sudden rise. They sent spies, spread misinformation, and prepared their own fleets for the battles they believed would surely come. Meanwhile, the humans aboard the Dauntless remained calm, steadfast in their purpose. They did not seek to conquer or control. Their mission was far more complex, and too many alien eyes, baffling. Rather than claiming territories or demanding tribute, the humans spoke of protecting those who could not defend themselves, of ending the cycles of endless war that had left so many star systems scarred and broken. This unexpected display of empathy and a strong moral code puzzled both friends and foes alike. How could such a powerful warship represent not aggression, but compassion? The humans' actions forced alien leaders to rethink their own motivations and the meaning of strength. Allies and enemies alike found themselves caught in a web of uncertainty and hope. Some began to wonder if humans might be the key to a new era, one where wars were fought not for conquest but for peace and justice. Others feared that this idealism was a mask for something more dangerous, something they could not yet see or understand. As tension mounted across the stars, secret meetings took place, alliances shifted, and old rivalries deepened. The presence of humanity changed everything, not just the battles in space, but the hearts and minds of those who had ruled the galaxy for so long. In the quiet moments between conflicts, whispers spread of a future where humans and aliens might stand together against common threats, or where they might tear each other apart in a struggle for survival and dominance. Amid this swirling chaos, the Dauntless stood as a symbol of hope and challenge, a reminder that the galaxy was no longer the same and that every race must decide what role they would play in the unfolding story. The shockwaves from the human arrival would be felt for years to come, reshaping alliances, sparking new conflicts, and inspiring a fragile dream of peace that might, just might, finally be within reach. The battle that would become the turning point of the entire conflict began suddenly, without warning. Yet it was as if the galaxy had been waiting for this moment all along. The Dauntless found itself leading a coalition fleet made up of alien ships from many factions that had put aside their differences to face a common threat. A ruthless alien warlord whose name was whispered with fear across star systems. Warlord had a reputation for destruction unmatched by any other. Known for crushing entire worlds underfoot and bending whole fleets to his will without mercy. His forces were vast and well-armed, a seemingly unstoppable wave of power that had left few enemies standing. Yet as the fleets converged for what all expected to be a swift and brutal clash, the humans aboard the Dauntless stood ready to face this overwhelming challenge with a resilience that surprised even their closest allies. The battle raged across the dark canvas of space, lasers and missiles streaking through the void as ships danced between attacks with desperate speed. The warlord's forces struck hard and fast, pushing the coalition to the brink of collapse. But the humans did not falter. Instead, they adapted quickly to every new threat, reading the enemy's tactics like a complex puzzle waiting to be solved. Where the warlord's commanders relied on overwhelming force and intimidation, the human captain and crew focused on strategy and innovation. They spotted weaknesses in the warlord's formations that others had missed, gaps in his shield coverage, predictable command patterns, and supply lines vulnerable to precise strikes. Using small, fast attack teams launched from the Dauntless, the humans cut through these weak points, disrupting communications and forcing confusion into the enemy ranks. Their drones carried out surgical strikes on key targets, disabling weapon systems and engines in rapid succession, while the human fleet shifted formations with a flexibility no one had expected from such a large warship. The coalition's alien allies watched in amazement as the tide of battle slowly turned. What seemed like an impossible fight began to favor the humans and their allies. The warlord's confidence faltered as his forces struggled to respond to the unpredictable human tactics. Each time he tried to regroup and push forward, the humans countered with new ideas, turning his strengths against him. The battle stretched on 4 hours, exhausting both sides, until finally, the warlord called for a ceasefire move, almost unheard of for a commander known for crushing enemies without mercy. The terms were reluctant and tense, but they marked the first time the warlord had ever acknowledged the humans not as mere newcomers, but as worthy opponents. Behind his cold eyes was a grudging respect, a recognition that these humans had changed the rules of war in ways no one had imagined possible. The ceasefire held, fragile as a thin thread, but it gave the galaxy a moment to breathe, to reconsider what strength really meant. The humans did not celebrate victory with boastful cries or displays of dominance. Instead, they used the pause to offer peace and hope, reaching out to former enemies with promises of a better future, one where power was balanced not by fear, but by understanding and resilience. The warlord, still wary but undeniably impressed, hinted that this uneasy respect might lead to new negotiations, perhaps even cooperation. The battle had tested human endurance and intellect to their limits, proving that strength was not just about firepower or numbers, but about courage, creativity, and the will to survive against all odds. As the Dauntless sailed through the quiet aftermath, its captain looked ahead with steady eyes, knowing that this turning point was only the beginning of a new era, one in which humanity would not only fight for survival, but also for the chance to change the destiny of the galaxy itself. With the guns silenced and the battle lines blurred, the galaxy entered a time unlike any it had seen before, a fragile but hopeful pause where the future seemed wide open and full of promise. The great war that had torn star systems apart had stopped, at least for now. And in the silence left behind, the humans aboard the Dauntless became more than just a powerful fleet. They became symbols of something new, something the galaxy desperately needed but had never truly believed possible. Where once strength had meant domination through force, humans showed that true power came from resilience, understanding, and the willingness to protect rather than destroy. Alien factions that had fought each other for centuries now found themselves forced to rethink their long-held beliefs about honor, strength, and survival. Some began to question the endless cycle of violence they had lived by, wondering if cooperation and peace might actually be stronger than war. The stories of human perseverance, how they faced destruction and hardship on their own world, yet never gave up hope, spread like wildfire across the stars. It's inspiring individuals and leaders alike to imagine a different way forward. Slowly, alliances began to form not just between humans and aliens, but among alien factions themselves, who saw the benefit of working together rather than tearing each other apart. These fragile coalitions met in quiet halls and unshadowed moons, discussing new strategies and philosophies that emphasized balance, respect, and the protection of all life. The humans shared their vision openly, not as conquerors demanding obedience, but as partners offering their knowledge and strength to help build a safer galaxy. The Warship, the Dauntless, still a massive and shining presence, remained a constant reminder of the change humanity had brought. Its glowing hull and silent power inspired awe, respect, and sometimes fear, but above all, it stood as a beacon of hope and transformation. To many, it symbolized the end of an era ruled by fear and destruction and the start of a new age where different races could learn from one another, grow stronger together, and build a future where war was no longer the answer. Beneath the hope and progress lay a cautious understanding. Peace was delicate, and not all would welcome the changes humanity represented. Some old powers watched warily from the shadows, plotting their next moves, unwilling to give up the control they once held. The road ahead promised challenges, and the humans knew that their mission to protect and unite the galaxy was only beginning. But for the first time in a long time, the stars seemed brighter, the paths clearer, and the chance for a lasting peace more real. The galaxy had been forever altered by the arrival of the Dauntless and the humans, who sailed it, a reminder that, even in the darkest times, hope and courage could light the way to a better tomorrow.